At exactly 0215 hours local time, the humid, moonlit expanse of the South China Sea was violently fractured by a meticulously orchestrated act of war that would instantly rewrite 21st century naval doctrine. The U.S. Navy's Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, USS Ralph Johnson, DDG-114, was navigating a routine freedom of navigation patrol through international waters near the contested Spratly Islands. Suddenly, the ship's advanced AON-SPY-6 V-1 air and missile defense radar, AMDR, began shrieking with an incomprehensible overload of false contacts. The Aegis Baseline 10 combat system, the most sophisticated naval brain on the planet, was drowning in a digital tsunami. In a fraction of a second, the radar screens in the Combat Information Center transformed into a blinding sea of red, painting thousands of phantom tracks that completely obscured the real, lethal threat accelerating toward them. The Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy, PLAN, had just sprung the most sophisticated trap in modern military history. This was not a random provocation. It was the opening salvo of a premeditated assassin's mace strike, designed to decapitate American naval supremacy in the Pacific without warning. Less than 10 nautical miles away, a seemingly innocuous fleet of state-sponsored maritime militia vessels, disguised as commercial fishing trawlers, simultaneously shed their tarps. Dozens of concealed launchers elevated into the night sky, unleashing a massive swarm of CH-92 reconnaissance drones and loitering munitions. These weren't just target drones. They were advanced electronic warfare platforms, acting as a distributed airborne antenna array designed to flood the American destroyer sensors with high-powered radio frequency white noise. At the same time, the real hammer fell. Beneath the churning waves, a PLAN Type 094, a Jin-class ballistic missile submarine, running silently at a depth of 300 meters, opened its torpedo tubes. But it wasn't launching standard torpedoes. Instead, it ejected a payload of encapsulated YJ-18 anti-ship cruise missiles, designed to breach the surface and ignite their turbojet engines at point-blank range. The distance was a mere 12 nautical miles. The reaction window for the USS Ralph Johnson was reduced from minutes to a terrifying 45 seconds. The Chinese command believed they had engineered the perfect kill box, leveraging commercial camouflage and multi-domain electronic warfare to blind the Aegis system before the Americans could even cycle their vertical launching system, VLS, cells. They were fatally wrong. Inside the CIC of the USS Ralph Johnson, the atmosphere was tense but fiercely disciplined. The commanding officer, a veteran of multiple Pacific deployments, instantly recognized the signature of a coordinated saturation attack. MCON-3, initiate radar silence. Shift to passive electro-optical sensors. He barked over the deafening blare of the general quarters alarm. The crew didn't panic. Instead, they executed a maneuver that the Pentagon had been secretly drilling for years. The ship shut down its active radar emissions entirely, going dark to deny the Chinese drones a target for their anti-radiation seekers. The Aegis system automatically transitioned its processing power from active broadcasting to a highly classified, passive infrared and acoustic sensor network. High above the clouds, the unseen guardian of the U.S. fleet was already in motion. A U.S. Navy E-2D Advanced Hawkeye, loitering at 25,000 feet over the Philippine Sea, had detected the massive electromagnetic surge. Its ANN APY-9 radar, operating in UHF frequencies capable of penetrating the Chinese electronic smokescreen, instantly identified the Type 094A submarine's launch point and the swarm of maritime militia ships. The Hawkeye's fire control officers immediately fused this data into the Naval Integrated Fire Control Counter-Air (NFCCA) network. In an instant, the ghosting American destroyer was no longer fighting alone. It was backed by the terrifying over-the-horizon reach of the entire U.S. Pacific Fleet. The counterstrike was instantaneous and brutally precise. 80 miles away, a U.S. Navy F-35C Lightning II, flying in full stealth mode, received the targeting telemetry via the Hawkeye. Without ever turning on its own AN/APG-81 radar to avoid detection, the stealth fighter opened its internal weapons bay and dropped two AGM-158C long-range anti-ship missiles, LRSM. These weren't ordinary cruise missiles. They were autonomous, stealthy predators equipped with artificial intelligence and electro-optical seekers capable of identifying and discriminating specific ship classes amidst heavy electronic clutter. While the LRASM silently glided toward the Chinese militia command ships at high subsonic speed, the USS Ralph Johnson faced the immediate, hypersonic threat of the YJ-18 missiles. Vampire, vampire, vampire! Multiple sea skimmers inbound, Mach 2.5. The Tactical Action Officer, TAO, shouted as the ship's passive sensors finally painted the incoming supersonic threats. The Aegis system automatically prioritized the targets and launched a defensive hailstorm. The Mk-41 VLS cells erupted, spitting out RIM 162 evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, ESSM, and SM-2 Block 3C interceptors in rapid succession. The night sky was torn apart by brilliant streaks of white smoke as the American interceptors met the Chinese supersonic missiles in midair, creating violent explosions of burning shrapnel that rained down into the ocean. But the Chinese tactical doctrine is layered and ruthless. The YJ-18s were merely a distraction, a bloody nose to keep the Americans focused on the surface and the sky. The true objective lay beneath the keel of the USS Ralph Johnson. While the destroyer's crew was locked in a desperate high-G defensive maneuver, a planned Type 055 Renhai-class stealth destroyer, hiding behind the radar shadow of a nearby artificial island, launched its ultimate weapon, the YJ-21, a hypersonic anti-ship ballistic missile, ASBM, dropped from a cold-launch VLS. The YJ-21 screamed into the upper atmosphere, reaching the edge of space before pitching over and diving toward the USS Ralph Johnson at Mach 8. At that velocity, traditional kinetic interceptors like the SM-3 or SM-6 have a dangerously low kill probability. The Aegis system flashed a terrifying automated warning. Hypersonic re-entry vehicle detected. Impact in 12 seconds. The ship's automated close-in weapon system, CIWS, the Phalanx 1B, tried to track the target, but the Mach 8 projectile was simply moving too fast for the 20mm Gatling gun's tracking algorithms to compute a lead angle. The crew braced for the end. The giant was looking down the throat of absolute destruction, but the U.S. Navy had a classified ace up its sleeve, a weapon that had never been deployed in a live combat scenario until this very second. Mounted on the stern deck of the USS Ralph Johnson was the ANSEQ-3 laser weapon system, LAWS, heavily upgraded with a 150-kilowatt solid-state laser array, fully integrated with the optical dazzling interdictor Navy Odin system. As the YJ-21 began its terminal dive, the ship's fire control computer bypassed the kinetic interceptors and handed the targeting solution directly to the directed energy weapon. A blinding, invisible beam of concentrated, coherent light shot upward, slicing through the humid ocean air. It wasn't a bullet, it was pure physics. The high-energy laser locked onto the YJ-21's heat-shielded nose cone. In less than 3 seconds, the intense thermal energy superheated the missile's internal guidance sensors and critically weakened the composite aeroshell. Traveling at Mach 8, the structural integrity of the missile was entirely dependent on its perfectly engineered shape. When the laser burned through the optical sensor window, the sudden aerodynamic asymmetry caused the missile to violently disintegrate in midair. A shower of burning debris rained down just 500 yards off the port bow, the shock wave rattling the Ralph Johnson's hull, but leaving her entirely intact. The Chinese strike had been blunted, but the battle was far from over. The planned Type 094E submarine, having revealed its position by launching the YJ-18s, was now a dead ship walking. As it attempted to dive deeper and slip away into the abyssal depths of the South China Sea, a specialized anti-submarine warfare, ASW net, was already tightening around its neck. A U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, flying at low altitude out of the acoustic shadow of a nearby rain squall, detected the faint cavitation of the Chinese submarine's propeller using its ANASQ-508 advanced airborne sensor. The P-8A immediately deployed a precise pattern of active sonobuoys, illuminating the Type 094A in the dark water. Simultaneously, lurking silently at 400 meters, a U.S. Virginia-class fast-attack submarine, the USS Montana, SSN 794, had been patiently listening to the entire exchange. The captain of the USS Montana didn't need to fire a lethal torpedo to win this engagement. Instead, he ordered a display of acoustic dominance that would psychologically scar the Chinese crew forever. The Montana aligned its bow sphere array directly at the Type 004A and transmitted a single high-powered active sonar ping. In the highly pressurized acoustic environment of the deep ocean, this ping hit the Chinese submarine's titanium hull with the force of a sledgehammer. The massive resonance instantly overloaded and destroyed every sensitive passive hydrophone on the Chinese boat, leaving them completely deaf. Realizing they had been outmaneuvered by a superior silent hunter, the Chinese submarine commander had no choice but to execute an emergency blow, flooding their ballast tanks with high-pressure air to rocket to the surface. As the massive, barnacle-encrusted hull of the Type 094A breached the surface like a wounded steel leviathan, the Chinese captain knew he was trapped. But the crew wasn't surrendering. They were executing an emergency data purge protocol. Deep inside the submarine's hardened signal intelligence room, automated degaussing systems were superheating the ship's solid-state drives, attempting to permanently erase the cryptographic keys, sonar signatures, and launch codes stored within. If the data was destroyed, the tactical loss of the submarine could be spun as a strategic victory by Beijing. The Pentagon needed that hardware intact. The order flashed across the Link 16 network from the commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet: board and secure, prevent scuttling at all costs. This was a mission of impossible odds. A submarine is a claustrophobic metal tube designed to keep the ocean out, making it a nightmare for any boarding party. But the U.S. Navy had just the unit for suicide missions. From the deck of the USS Ralph Johnson, two MH-6 Little Bird helicopters from the Navy's Secretive SEAL Team 6 roared into the sky, hugging the waves to avoid radar detection. The helicopters hovered violently just feet above the rolling, partially submerged hull of the Chinese ballistic missile submarine. Despite the heavy swells crashing over the submarine's fairwater, 6 heavily armed SEAL operators fast-roped directly onto the wet, slippery casing. The SEALs had exactly 120 seconds before the Chinese internal security team could manually trigger the emergency scuttling charges. Moving with terrifying speed, the operators placed breaching charges on the submarine's upper hatch. The muffled thump of the shaped charges echoed through the steel hull. The hatch was blown inward, and the SEALs poured flash-bang grenades into the dark, claustrophobic bowels of the submarine. Simultaneously, the Chinese Plan Command, watching via a secure satellite uplink from their Type 055 cruiser hiding behind the artificial island, realized the Americans were stealing their most valuable strategic asset. The Chinese admiral made a cold, ruthless calculation. The submarine and its crew were expendable if it meant denying the U.S. the cryptographic data. The Type 055 cruiser's VLS cells opened, and the ship launched its final desperate salvo. 4 YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship ballistic missiles, programmed not for the USS Ralph Johnson, but directly at the coordinates of the surface Type 094A submarine. They were going to obliterate their own vessel. Inside the Combat Information Center of the USS Ralph Johnson, the Aegis system screamed to life once again. Ballistic missile launch detected. Track bearing 045. Range 85 nautical miles. Hypersonic profile confirmed. The tactical picture was a nightmare. The incoming YJ-21s were diving at Mach 8, and they were aimed squarely at the submarine, where the SEALs were currently engaged in a close-quarters firefight in the control room. The USS Ralph Johnson had to shoot down a hypersonic missile with friendlies directly in the blast radius. There was no room for error. The captain ordered the immediate deployment of the SM-3 Block 2A exoatmospheric interceptor, a weapon specifically designed to shoot down ballistic missiles in the mid-course phase in space. But the YJ-21 was a maneuvering hypersonic glide vehicle, not a standard parabolic ballistic missile. It could juke and weave, defeating standard tracking algorithms. The Aegis system linked its fire control data directly to a U.S. Air Force RC-130 rivet joint aircraft flying at high altitude, which provided real-time infrared tracking of the hypersonic glide vehicle's thermal plume. This sensor fusion gave the SM-3 enough telemetry to launch. 3 SM-3 interceptors blasted off the deck of the Ralph Johnson, their massive Mk-72 solid rocket boosters lighting up the dawn sky as they arced into the upper atmosphere. At an altitude of 70 kilometers, the SM-3's kinetic kill vehicle separated from its booster, Traveling at a closing speed of over Mach 15, the kill vehicle used its divert and attitude control system to adjust its trajectory, slamming directly into the lead YJ-21. The kinetic impact literally hitting a bullet with a bullet created a massive explosion of shrapnel in the upper atmosphere. 2 of the Chinese hypersonic missiles were destroyed, but 1 survived. The final YJ-21, its guidance sensors damaged by the debris field of its destroyed siblings, began to tumble and corkscrew unpredictably. It was falling too fast for the SM-3 to re-engage, and it was too high for the Phalanx CIWS or the Rolling Airframe Missile, RAM, to track. The tumbling Mach 8 mass of metal was plunging directly toward the Type 094A submarine. On the submarine's deck, the SEAL commander heard the terrifying, high-pitched shriek of a hypersonic object tearing through the atmosphere. "Abort! Abort! Get off the boat!" he screamed into his comms. The SEALs, clutching a hardened tactical laptop containing the ripped data from the submarine's console, sprinted toward the hull's edge. They hurled themselves off the casing just as the YJ-21 impacted. The impact was cataclysmic. The YJ-21's kinetic energy alone tore the Type 094A submarine in half. A massive plume of boiling water, shattered steel, and unspent solid rocket fuel erupted hundreds of feet into the air. The shockwave knocked the hovering MH-6 Little Birds out of the sky, forcing their pilots to auto-rotate into the churning sea. But the SEALs, wearing their specialized tactical life preservers, survived the blast, swimming frantically away from the vortex of the sinking wreckage. The mission was a terrifying success. The SEALs had successfully extracted the cryptographic data mere seconds before the submarine was annihilated. But the cost was high. The U.S. Navy had to execute a massive combat search and rescue in a CSAR operation under the threat of further Chinese missile strikes. H-60 Seahawks braved the burning debris field to hoist the battered, exhausted SEALs and the downed helicopter pilots from the water. As the last American helicopter lifted off and the USS Ralph Johnson turned its bow toward safer waters, the reality of what had just happened set in. The Pacific theater had irrevocably changed. The U.S. Navy had demonstrated that its multi-domain kill chain, sensor fusion, and elite special operations forces could survive a coordinated hypersonic swarm attack. But the Chinese had proven they were willing to sacrifice their own vessels and crews to prevent their secrets from falling into American hands. The wreckage of the Type 094E now rests at the bottom of the South China Sea, a steel tomb holding the secrets of a conflict that nearly ignited World War III. The cryptographic data secured by the SEALs is already being analyzed in the bunkers of Fort Meade, unlocking the vulnerabilities of China's entire nuclear triad. In the halls of the Pentagon, there is no celebration, only a grim, terrifying realization. The era of conventional naval warfare is over. The next confrontation will not be fought with missiles and guns alone, but with lasers, artificial intelligence, and hypersonic gliders moving too fast for human comprehension. The Chinese Navy's sudden, aggressive move shocked the world, but the Pentagon's ruthless, calculated response has forever rewritten the rules of engagement. The line between peace and annihilation has never been thinner, and as the supercarriers of the U.S. Pacific Fleet steam toward the horizon, the entire world holds its breath, waiting to see who will blink next. What would you have done if you were in command of the USS Ralph Johnson? Would you have risked the SEALs to secure the intel or let the submarine sink? Drop your tactical analysis in the comments below. If you think the U.S. Navy maintained its dominance in this scenario, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next classified file on global military superiority is about to be unlocked. Stay sharp.